SEC bringing the case against Ripple was not really just a case about Ripple or about XRP. It's really about the industry and how the SEC is kind of playing offense and attacking the whole industry. 2.5 years ago when this started, I'm not sure everyone fully digested that, and now that is widely understood. This is going to be pivotal for the whole industry because if the SEC is able to prevail, I think there's a lot of other cases, and some of them just in the last 4 weeks, I think they brought 5 additional enforcement cases. The macro headline for me is this is not a healthy way to regulate an industry. Your regulation through enforcement, as opposed to where we're seeing in other countries where they're doing the work, right? They're codifying, they're creating a framework that allows an industry to grow while protecting consumers. And I think that's really what the U.S. is lagging. And to some degree why I'm here in Washington is to continue to try to evangelize and educate, here's how these technologies can really benefit consumers, benefit industry.
Is what I'm hearing from you essentially, if the U.S. doesn't get its act together and move more quickly, all of this is going offshore. It's just going elsewhere.
Well, it already is. I mean, the sad reality is that the U.S. really is already behind. This is not behind countries that we haven't necessarily heard of. This is behind Australia and behind the UK, Japan, Singapore, Switzerland. There's a lot of countries that have taken the time and thoughtfulness to create that clear rules of the road. By contrast, when I first got involved in the tech industry in the late 90s, some were saying the internet should be banned. They were saying, here's how the internet is being used for illicit purposes. But the U.S. government said, no, we're going to create a framework. And that allowed entrepreneurs, that allowed investors to come in and look at the benefits to the United States on a geopolitical basis to have the Amazons and Googles based and headquartered in the United States. We're at, I think, severe risk of having that not happen in this next evolution of technology around blockchain and crypto. It has already started moving outside the United States. And also, the consumers are suffering because of that, because you don't have the same protections that the U.S. regulatory frameworks can provide.
What would a good framework look like, in your view?
Well, look, I think what you're seeing right now is the Securities and Exchange Commission. If you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And not everything here is a nail. And I think any framework has to start with clear protections for consumers, but then to thoughtfully understand that these aren't always going to be securities. Some of them are used as currencies. That is, having an efficient process to trade, exchange, move those things would be much harder in a world if they were regulated as securities.
Somebody says XDC versus IOTA, which is Internet of Things. You see this right here? This website is called ISO 20022.org. In less than 15 days or so, this is going into effect. This is a single standardization approach, methodology, a process, a repository to be used by, look at that word right there. Let's play Scrabble for a minute. By most financial standard initiatives. Nope. By many financial standard initiatives. Nope. I need another 4. Some financial. No. It's a 3-letter word. All financial standard initiatives. This is going live next month. And it is something that will be used by all financial standard initiatives. You got me on that one, right? Let me help you out with something else. Now that you have that under your hat, let me give you something else to put in your hat. Check me now. Check it out. ISO 20022 cryptos. The following cryptocurrencies are compliant as of this writing with ISO 20022. Stellar Lumen's XLM, Hedera's HBAR, Internet of Things, that's the one you're asking me about. XDC Network, you asked me about that. Ripple's XRP, Algorand, right? The Hyperledger system, and Quant and its Overledger system, right? These coins are ISO 20022 compliant. They're gonna help move the world's money around. And your question to me is which one? This one or this one? Sir, I own all of these, and I am not picking and playing games about this one or that one. I own all of them. They're going to move the world's money. What you do with that information is up to you. I want to remind you, Quant sits right here because it has an Overledger operating system, and it is connected to XDC, Algorand, Internet of Things, Hedera Hashgraph, Stellar Lumen's XLM, and Ripple's XRP. I am not about to choose between XDC and IOTA. They are both ISO 20022 compliant. I own all of them.
Hey guys, today is yet another day and we still don't have a conclusion to what's happening in the SEC versus Ripple case. But before we get started with today's video, ensure that you get your flare drop, which is now live. I've got a lot to discuss on the current situation in the financial markets, especially in the crypto world. So let's roll that intro and get down to business. As always, welcome to Money Side, your favorite crypto channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you get updates when we drop new videos. Don't forget to smash that like button. You can always leave a question or a comment in the section below. Most tech companies are now laying off workers in huge numbers, but Ripple, on the other hand, is hiring. Here's a tweet that was posted on Ripple's official handle. Solve real-world challenges by building tech that harnesses the power of crypto. Check out our open roles like staff software engineer, finance engineering, Senior Manager Engineering, Liquidity, Director of Security Engineering and Operation. That goes to show that Ripple will soon declare that their revenue continues to increase despite the financial issues in the world and the current case against them. This company continues to flourish, even though they are fighting a battle in court for the whole crypto community. Unfortunately, the U.S. is not the only country that's not embracing the crypto community with open arms, especially Ripple. Other countries, such as South Korea, are making it easy for crypto companies to set up shop in that country by ensuring they have clear and precise regulations. South Korea is gearing up to provide more regulatory clarity for crypto this year. Ripple's APAC policy director, Rada Von Zing, discussing how policymakers can strike a balance between consumer protection and fostering innovation in the sector. If only this happened in the U.S., we would be talking about the crypto market in a different way. Innovation in other countries will far surpass what's in the U.S., and chances are some of these companies will have to move their headquarters from the U.S. Cryptos, such as XRP, they're accepted in most, if not all, countries besides the U.S. Now, what does that say about the government, considering Ripple is a company that started right here in San Francisco? We need a government that embraces innovations, such as Ripple, a company that is likely going to shape the future of cross-border transfers and banking as we know it. But with people like Gary Gensler in powerful positions, don't expect anything to change anytime soon. For the crypto market to become successful in the U.S., Gensler must go. I said it. To Gensler, every crypto is a security, and that puts the crypto market at risk. Such a person shouldn't have a fixed mind towards the crypto market and shouldn't have such a view of it. My only hope is that Gary hasn't damaged the reputation of the SEC with his ideas. Listen to this tweet. As a reminder, the sitting SEC chair is actively hurting 1.2 million investors, structurally degrading one of the largest retail capital markets and blocking domestic capital formation. Chairman Gensler is actively working against his agency's core mandates due to anti-crypto bias.
I don't have time. I need to be able to drill in on a couple of things. Let me start with some of the banking issues we're dealing with on it. Will the deposits in every community bank in Oklahoma, regardless of their size, be fully insured now? Are they fully recovered? Every bank, every community bank in Oklahoma, regardless of the size of the deposit, will they get the same treatment that SVB just got or Signature Bank just got?
A bank only gets that treatment if a majority of the FDIC board, a supermajority of the Fed board, and I, in consultation with the president, determine that the failure to protect uninsured depositors would create systemic risk and significant economic and financial consequences.
So what is your plan?
Made that determination.
Right. So what is your plan to keep large depositors from moving their funds out of community banks into the big banks? We have seen the mergers of banks over the past decade. I'm concerned you're about to accelerate that by encouraging anyone who has a large deposit in a community bank to say, we're not going to make you whole, but if you go to one of our preferred banks, we will make you whole at that point.
Look, I mean, that's certainly not something that we're encouraging.
That is happening right now.
That is happening because depositors are concerned about the bank failures that have happened and whether or not other banks could also
No,
fail.
it's happening
And
because you're
it's-
fully insured no matter what the amount is. If you're in a big bank, you're not fully insured if you're in a community bank.
Well, you're not fully insured. And
You
the big-
were at Signature, and
the
it
big-
just barely met that threshold. You were at Signature.
Well, we felt that there was a serious risk of contagion that could have brought down and triggered runs on many banks. And that's something, given that our judgment is that the banking system overall is safe and sound, depositors should have confidence in the system, and we took these actions.
So there's a
to
special
discourage
assessment that's been done
contagion.
on community banks in my state and all banks across the country. Was there any discussion that that special assessment would only apply to the larger banks, or was it always assumed the special assessment would cover every bank, including rural banks in my state?
I think I'm not certain what the rules are around that. That's for the FDIC to determine.
It has been reported publicly that SVB had a large number of Chinese investors that are there, including some that were companies directly connected to the Chinese Communist Party. Will those individuals, companies, entities, and investors that are Chinese investors be made whole based on assessments in my banks in Oklahoma? So what I'm asking is, will my banks in Oklahoma pay a special assessment to be able to make Chinese investors whole from Silicon Valley Bank?
Uninsured investors will be made whole in that bank, and I suppose that could include foreign depositors, but I don't believe there's any legal basis to discriminate among uninsured.
I get it, but I'm
depositors.
just saying my community banks are going to pay this additional fee. It is always fascinating to me as well, the conversation that taxpayers are being made whole in this, that taxpayers are not going to have any kind of consequence on this. I'm sure my bankers are going to be very excited to know they no longer pay taxes, and their banks no longer pay taxes. Credit unions don't pay taxes, banks do. And so they're definitely taxpayers as well. And all banks make their revenue off of rates and fees and such to their account holders, which means every Oklahoman will pay higher fees in their community bank.
We're just going to have to move on.
If we have a collapse of the banking system and its economic consequences, that will have very severe effects on banks in Oklahoma that will also be threatened.
I'm just worried about the long-term
We are going to have to
consequences
move
on our banks
on,
as well.
or we're not going to get all senators in. Senator Cortez Masto.
This is a Bitcoin advert. And in reality, Bitcoin is the worst crypto investment you could currently own. The fact that it has no real-life value means that you could potentially lose everything in a matter of minutes. As always, do your own research and always trade safely, guys. Please keep in mind, we're not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and let's have a conversation. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, and please click on that subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you get informed whenever we post our amazing content. Thanks again, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next Money Side.